Hello, everyone, and we are at day 11. And yes, it's Desiree. Hello. Yes, day 11. Although I am a little behind, so we're going to get you caught up over this weekend or the beginning of this week. So get ready to sit back. So we're going to focus day 11 for Stampers Anonymous. That's who I'm going to feature. Now, you knew that was going to come in. If you've seen my previous videos, you know that this is my wonderful world here when it comes to these stamps. I just love the feel. I love the look. I love the fonts, especially during the holidays because of the vintage feel. Even though I tend to go into the different colors, non-traditional colors, these just pull me back in. So you can see I have 2 pieces of colored cardstock and 2 pieces of white together. So the colors that I'm using are Cherry Cobbler and I believe it's Green Garden or Garden Green or Garden Party. It's a green by Stampin' Up. I'll have it listed below. So sorry. And of course Desert Storm. So I'm using a stamp positioner for these. You can see I chose 6 of the small sentiments with big impact. You kind of do need a stamp positioner for this because each of these panels that I'm stamping on a colored and then a white with the same stamp. I need it positioned in the same exact spot with what I'm doing. So using an acrylic block, you would need to use that product. I believe it was by Inkadinkadoo. Yeah, I love saying that, Inkadinkadoo. Where it had just that piece, and I use it for my wooden blocks. I still have mine. Just for that fact, it's a wonderful product. So you would need to use that because you do need them in the same spot. So after I have these stamped, I'm using my Versamark. I'm making sure I prep each of my panels with my anti-static tool, which at some point you will see me beat my anti-static tool severely. Sorry. The tools are okay. It did not break, but sometimes you got to do that. There I am, yes. And you want to stamp, you want to make sure that you have a good impression and you want it in the same spot. Okay, and you'll see why. So I also pulled out 3 different embossing powders. I'm using my Silver and Gold by Recollections. And I am also, and know that these are very fine detailed stamps, and I do not have a problem using my Recollections. The Recollections is the Silver and Gold automatically for fine details. So, I didn't know that. Sorry. You just buy the stuff and then you read it later. But it works very, very well when it comes to the fine details. There's a third color that I'm using, and that one's by Ranger, and that's my liquid platinum. That is absolutely my favorite. There is a comparable one from Recollections, and it's called Champagne. I just like using Ranger, obvious reasons, and it's cool to say liquid platinum. So it kind of like, it's awesome. Okay. So you can see I'm stamping the 2 pieces of cardstock, one white, one colored. Once I have them stamped up with my Versamark ink, I'm applying my embossing powder and I'm heat setting them. And then I'm setting them aside. All right, so again, this is good for mass production. You just gotta like to heat up your room with the heat gun. It's all embossing. That's exactly what I wanted to choose. So again, you can see that each of these panels were cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I was kind of going in one direction, and I do make a change as always. So you always want your panels cut the same exact size as well. So I'm using my microfiber cloth to clean off my anti-static powder. I think this does a great job. And if not, then at least it makes the cardstock the same color because it just pushes it around. I think it does a great job. I don't pull out Swiffers or wet it or anything else like that. I just wipe that down. So these are our card panels. So we have a total of 6 sets. Say that 10 times fast. I was surprised I got that out in the first shot. So what we're going to do now, so now you can see kind of why you need the stamp positioner. This is going to kind of show that. So I'm going to layer the two that are exact same stamp, 2 different cardstocks, and I'm going to use my micropore tape. That's the tape I feel that does the best job and does not stick to cardstock. Everything I have sticks to cardstock no matter what I do. Well, that's another discussion for another time. But what I'm going to do is once these are together, I'm going to use my little guillotine here, and I'm going to slice them in half. I know. You're kind of going, I did too. Yes, I did, because at one point I thought I had 2 different stamp sets together. So it was awesome. But you want to make sure that, do I have to tape them together? No. I figured it was the best way that they would stay together. I mean, you're taking 2 pretty thick cardstocks. They're each, at least 100-pound weight each. And don't get me wrong, this paper trimmer will go through them. But it's, I'm being careful. I don't want to slam down on it, and I don't want to, that's how I broke my other one. So I want to be genteel, and make sure that it does work. So with that tape, it's holding those pieces together. You can go straight across, you can go on an angle, you could go vertical, you could go horizontal. The sky's the limit with this. But this is why you want to make sure that you're using either a stamp positioner or the Ink-a-Dink-a-Doo stamp positioner. You know I had to say that again. It was fun. Because now I'm going to switch. I'm going to take those 2 colors and I'm going to pair them up. And because they're stamped in the exact same spot, all I have to do is just apply a little bit of tape on each of the ends so that I can put my tape on the back. Just to hold these 2 pieces together, because we're not done. Because I changed my mind and I want to change the size of the card. So we had to modify. And that's okay. So here comes the Scotch tape. Scotch tape is a key thing to have in your craft room. It does not have to be washi tape, even though we have tons of it and we could use it forever. Scotch tape is key, with a holder that stays put, because you always only have one hand, right? Right. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going to go through each of these sets that we've cut. We've kept them together, and we're going to flip either the bottom or the top. It doesn't matter which you do. It's going to be the same thing. So from this, you had 6 sets of panels made. You're going to now have 12 cards in one shot, just by doing this. Now, I will tell you that making these 12 cards took, I'm going to say, total for me, 45 minutes. And the reason why I say 45 minutes is because I cut something wrong that, I'll tell you when it comes up a little bit later. I needed to recut the panels, so I added time. But if from start to finish, taking out those boo-boos, those whoops, need to change this, nope, I need to go here, 12 cards will take you about 30 minutes. Literally, when it comes to this. And it's different. I know, don't get me wrong, while I say it's different, I have seen it before from other crafters. I think there was a video that I watched recently from Christina, and I think it was her, 20 cards in 20 minutes. It was something that she did, part of her Christmas series, and that just kind of inspired me for this. Again, I am sure other crafters have done this. This is not my idea. I never claim anything as my idea. So please, I've been inspired by others when it comes to this. This here is when I say, okay, yeah, we're going to change the size of the card. So I pulled out a stitched square die from My Favorite Things, the largest one, and I'm going to cut them out. So that's kind of why you're using the Scotch tape on the back as well to hold these panels together. And you just want to center your embossed image in the center of that. So these are all the panels that we have. You can see the recollections. It's definitely fine detailed. I have a beautiful image. And again, 6 sets of cardstock, white and a colored. You get 12 cards. So I have 4 using silver embossing powder, 4 using gold, and I have 4 using the liquid platinum. So of course I'm going to pull out my gold and silver metallic cardstock, and of course, yes, I got the other ones. Yeah, I saw they were released. Yes, I love them. Well, in the new sets, they have a platinum. So I was really excited. So I was able to use that. Now, the card bases that I'm using for these cards, the card bases themselves are 4x4. Okay, so that means you're going to cut it, and they're top folding. So you're going to cut them 4x8 and then score at the 4-inch mark along the long edge. So the metallic panel is actually cut 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So that my focal image with the colored cardstock and the embossing, they're actually coming out to, because of the die, 3 3/8 by 3 3/8 square. Okay? So I'm just cutting all of these. Now, as I'm cutting, I believe what I'm doing, yeah, I believe I originally cut them. I think I cut them like really small or really large. I believe I'm going to show it to you in here. But now I'm just prepping my card bases. And again, 4x8 is what you would cut your paper. And you're going to score at the 4-inch mark. I am using my tonic paper creaser. I love it. It's got that metal edge, and I think it does absolutely great. Oh, no, I didn't keep it in there. So what I did was, matter of fact, no, I think you'll see it. So you can see that these panels pretty much do take up the front of my card base panels. I'm just laying them out because I'm doing them in sets of 4. And I'm just using my Nuvo liquid adhesive to set these in place. So I'm going to do all of the metallics to get those set. Now by this, yes, I did realize that, okay, yeah, I need to recut those. And what it was, I had a really big border around the focal image that was die cut. And I didn't want it to be that big or that small. I'm sorry. Let me reverse that. That small. I wanted the metallic papers to shine through. Because then that would help pull out the embossed sentiment that we have. I didn't want, usually I go with a very thin border when it comes to my metallics. This time I wanted it just a little bit bigger. So now I'm just going to, on each one of my focal panels, I'm going to add some double-sided foam tape. Now, this double-sided foam tape I use on my business end when I make mass cards for companies instead of using 3M. So for this, I get it from Uline, just like I get my double-sided foam squares. But the only thing I will say about it, I think it's great. It comes in 1/16 of a height or 1/30, 1/16. I think there's 2 different sizes that it comes in. It's very inexpensive. The problem is the release paper is very tough to get off. So I just use my craft pick just to poke down, and then I can release it off very quickly. It works well. I mean, it is strong. It's got a bond that's unbelievable. It's like their 2-inch film tape that I use to make glitter panels and everything else. It works, and it's great, and it is a fraction of the cost of the Scotch 3M. I don't use this. This is not recommended for shaker cards at all. I do not recommend it. Use your 3M for your shaker cards. Okay, but we'll see. We'll be talking more about that. So you can see our cards. 2 different looks. Sorry, rambled there. Back to the cards. 2 different looks, but the same panel. But you can see how different they are. 12 cards. When you go from start to finish, not changing your mind, 30 minutes. And again, these are 4x4 card bases. So again, they are great for if you want to give something to everybody at work, just to wish them a happy holidays or a Merry Christmas. But these were very quick, and I think they have a great impact. I think they're beautiful. So these are just the close-ups of the cards that we did make today. As always, I like to give you those. All the products that I will use, or that I did use, if we just saw, will be linked down below as well if you wanted to check them out. If you have any questions or comments, please make sure you leave those down below as well. I will make sure that I get back to you. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you here as part of my community. We're having a great time here. Everyone's amazed at this. This was day 11. I know, withdrawal's going to come in come January, but it's okay. It's not going to be dead in January. But again, this is my way to say thank you to all of you who watch, all of the organizations that sponsor me, and all of the organizations that make this possible for us. This is truly my way to say thank you. Because if it's not for them, I don't know if I would be on this journey with you all. So please keep enjoying it. Please stay tuned for so much more. But always remember what's most important to me. Always, every day, be creative.